Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Justin the Food Entrepreneur Show. I'm Justin Bizzarro. I'm your host. That's Bizzarro. For anyone who's out there, you can find this show on Instagram and Facebook. You can also find me personally on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Again, 2 Z's, 2 R's. And then you can find the rebuilding of Gorilla Brave into Gorilla Brave Studios on Instagram at Gorilla Brave, as well as a blog we're doing, and we will be relaunching the website as no longer gorillabrave.love, as gorillabrave.com for everyone to make it easier. That little .love thing really threw everyone through a loop, I understand. So we've corrected it and listened to everyone. With that being said, I have Sage Hauser back with us from Third Coast Dogs and the Gray Horse Saloon out of Portland, Oregon. How are you doing today, Sage?
I'm doing great. Good to be back on the show with you, Justin. It was a really awesome time last time. So, yeah, I'm stoked.
Yeah,
Good to talk to you
absolutely.
again.
And I'm going to answer a question for the audience based on your last one or just in general. And just for the audience perspective, yes, I've done quite a few hot dog entrepreneurs. The King of New York, Hot Dog King of New York, runs hot dog carts and builds hot dog carts for others. We've talked to Walter's Hot Dogs. We've had Nash Dogs on the show as well out of Nashville, as well as some others. Can you remember all of Super Dogs and other companies, as well as we just talked about Third Coast Dogs, and everyone's like, why pick something there? It's not a product that's ever going to go anywhere. And I always find this interesting when people say, why are you backing it? Or why this? Or why are you saying it's a big thing? And hot dogs have been around and sausage for a long time and really haven't gone anywhere. It's not necessarily true. They exist on many, many menus. We eat them all the time during 4th of July. But what I'm going to correct everyone on is this simple thing. If there wasn't the entrepreneurs who blazed the trail to build industries, those industries wouldn't exist. And in the case of hot dogs, there's been Opportunity Nathan's. There's been companies that have come along that have started to build hot dog and sausages on that level, but they have failed or fallen short or not diversified enough in their menu for that, or not been creative enough to do something where the hot dog truly gets to be the delivery of good food, of good presence, spice, saltiness, sugar, whatever across the palate. So why hot dogs? Number one, I love them. I don't know that I've ever gone to sports or done anything related to sports where hot dog hasn't come to my mind, even though I really love hamburgers, cheeseburgers in particular. But for the audience, here's the thing. Hot dogs, sausages in general are growing, okay? We've all had them. It's something we're used to. It's just the right entrepreneur with the right amount of creativity to do it, okay? And on this show, what I'm also trying to make a point of is that if it wasn't for McDonald's, Dave Thomas, and the guys who created Burger King out of Miami, I can't remember. They sold for like $35 million, by the way. Think of what Burger King's worth now. Something like that. But the three of them being uber competitive with each other and trying to build it and build something for themselves created a market. Now, do we have to be uber competitive with each other to build a market? No. But it takes a group of entrepreneurs going out there and doing it and learning from one another and having each other to push and iron sharpen iron that does it. Okay, so that's why the hot dogs, to answer the question for the audience, because I believe that there's more to it. It is more and more comfort food, no different than chicken fingers. So I'm just going to leave it there. I'm going to let Sage talk a little bit. I'm going to let him reintroduce himself a little bit, who he is. Obviously, everyone should go back and listen to part 1 if you haven't already. But I'm going to let you do the 5-10 minute version of yourself here, Sage, just so everyone gets familiar with you real quick. And maybe we learned something we didn't know before.
Yeah, my name's Sage Hauser. I'm the chef and restaurateur of Third Coast Hot Dogs and Gray Horse Saloon in Portland, Oregon. I do Texas-style hot dogs. I believe it's like kind of a new genre of hot dog, even though it's something I grew up with, but maybe it's something that the rest of America hasn't been exposed to yet. Texas-style hot dogs are just inspired by all the flavors and cuisines of the melting pot of Texas. So you have a lot of European influence, Mexican influence, Asian influence, pretty much all these giant cultures that reside in Texas just come together to create this one just new style of hot dog. At least what I'm calling it is Texas style hot dogs. But yeah, there's a like a specific formula to it. There's a crunch on each hot dog. There's a sauce. There's a fresh element and a pickled element. And I believe those four elements of the hot dog kind of bring like umami effect. And just having these crazy different toppings on top of these hot dogs are supposed to be like a roadmap of Texas. All the hot dogs on my menu are named after different towns in Texas. And so, yeah, it's supposed to be like a little culinary roadmap of Texas that you don't even have to go there. You can just come to my shop in Portland and get a hot dog. And yeah, the shop is in, so I have a motorcycle shop. So we do repair and custom builds of motorcycles. But yeah, inside of this giant garage with the motorcycle shop is my bar, and inside it's the Gray Horse Saloon, and inside of my bar, Gray Horse Saloon, is Third Coast Hot Dogs, which is my hot dog pop up because I originally started as a hot dog pop up. And yeah, I've been doing the hot dogs for almost 2 years. I took over the bar over a year and a half ago, and yeah, it's slowly but surely kind of taken off. Just got the Oregonian, which is a pretty big West Coast newspaper, Eater magazine. We actually just got filmed for the morning news for Good Morning Oregon. So people are really responding to the hot dogs. And I think not just the hot dogs, but it being in this motorcycle shop, like you come in and it's kind of just a revolutionary thing. Or, I mean, when was the last time you went to a motorcycle shop and got a hot dog and got drinks? And it's so I think it's pretty unique place. And yeah, I think people really are responding to just not only the culinary factor of everything, but just like the full on experience of coming into the shop. So yeah, that's Third Coast and Gray Horse.
Let's dive into the hot dogs themselves. It's something that we talked about doing from the first episode to this episode.
Yeah.
And we dove into some of them, but I want to, and talked about the most popular ones, but I really want to allow you to go through your menu individually with each one, the inspiration behind it to truly nail down this Texas style hot dog. You know, the pictures are beautiful. The articles are beautiful. If anyone's in the audience, you want to look up Third Coast hot dogs, and there's lots of articles about it. There's pictures online. There's social media individuals who do influencing with it. It's a big deal what's going on here because, and I'm going to emphasize it as we go into this menu, is that typically we think of a hot dog as something that just needs to be on a bun. You're a traditionalist. Maybe if you're adventurous, you have mustard. If you're really adventurous, you maybe have ketchup. If you're even more adventurous, maybe you're in Europe and you have mayonnaise on there somewhere also. But that's been traditionally as far as it goes. Okay, chili dog, cheese dog. Okay, very limited in what the actual potential is, not only of the hot dog, but the different flavor profiles of a hot dog itself and the way it matches to items on something that can expand the palate. It doesn't have to just be what we think of as a gas station. We get a hot dog and we get to put mayo, ketchup, or whatever, or even at a ball game. Sauerkraut, sorry, that's one of the stars of the hot dog show over the last 100 years. So I'm going to give the mic back to Sage here, but guys, this is a big deal because the hot dog and the bun, the delivery system, it's a sandwich, is so much more. So it's yours, Sage.
Yeah, it is like a sandwich, but it's like such as like open face. You kind of get this like option to really aesthetically like build it. And like, a sandwich, is covered by the bread. So you really, unless you get the cross cut of a sandwich bite, you really don't get the visualization. And that's the beauty of a hot dog is that, yeah, it's like a sandwich that you top from the top, so you have this opportunity to really like build this like beautiful image, and I think that's really what inspired me to go crazy on these hot dogs. And it really makes me happy when I drop like a couple of hot dogs off at people's table or at the bar, and people's eyes just light up. Like they can see this thing, and they're instantly taking photos of it, and they're talking about it. And it's crazy that something so lowly, and as the hot dog can be like this aesthetic, beautiful thing that people are just completely stoked about. And yeah, the menu is all named after Texas towns. So I'll just go roughly through the menu, just chronologically. So the Christie is the first hot dog on the menu. I put this one as the first hot dog on the menu because it has pineapple slaw, and I kind of wanted it to be like a filter. And if people can get past pineapple being on a hot dog, then maybe you can like get past the rest of the menu. So yeah, it's like a little bit of a litmus test. Like if you can read past the first thing on here and keep going, then you're probably in the right place. So the Christie is named after Corpus Christi in Texas, which is a little beach town. It's about 3 hours from San Antonio, where I grew up. It's got pineapple slaw, which is crushed pineapple, and then I like marinate it with the like juice from the pickled onions. So the vinegar from the pickled onions kind of cuts away the bromines and the sugars of the pineapple, which kind of gives you that when you eat too much pineapple, you get that like sharp, like sweet taste in your mouth, and that's just the bromine. So it's got the pineapple slaw, crushed potato chips, cilantro, and pink sauce. This dog is actually the most popular dog in the country of Colombia. And if you go to Colombia, they're eating these pineapple dogs everywhere on the street. And the reason I named it the Christie is because there was a little hot dog shack in Corpus, and they were selling these Colombian hot dogs. And it was the first time I ever had it. So that's why I named the Christie after the Colombian hot dog. And then the San Anto, of course, this is the hot dog that created the whole menu. I'm from San Antonio. We talked about this briefly last time about mole. Yeah,
It's
how
my
mole
favorite
is
one.
just,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just such a good sauce. And when you start describing some of the ingredients to people, they're like, I don't know about that, but it's, there's something just so magical about this sauce. And so, yeah, it's got baking chocolate. It's got like 30 different types of chilies. It's got golden raisins, peanuts. It's got all this crazy shit. And the end result is this like beautiful, really intricate like sauce that is great on meat, goes great with vegetable. It's just like, describing it doesn't make sense, but when you eat it, it does. And I think that's some of my best foods when you're thinking about it, or like, I don't know if this is going to work, but when you try it, you're like, okay, this works. And so the Santo has black mole, pickled onions, Takis chips, and white sauce. Yeah, so that one's supposed to be like all my favorite sides of like a really good mole dish. So typically whenever I order mole, it's like a whole roasted chicken with mole, fresh tortillas, pickled onions, fresh queso fresco, cilantro. So this is supposed to be like all of my favorite elements of like a chicken mole dish on a hot dog. And yeah, this one was inspired directly by San Antonio. The first time I ever had mole in my life was because of San Antonio. And I just remember trying it the first time. I was like, I'm in love with this sauce. And so yeah, that one is like, yeah, that's the magnum opus of the menu. That's what created the whole menu, is the San Anto.
Are you making the mole from scratch just for the audience and me to understand? Because with all the ingredients, it sounds like this is something you've worked a lifetime on to perfect the mole sauce.
So the mole sauce is super intricate and hard to make. So I have found this company. It's this woman-owned company out of Oaxaca, Mexico, and they sell the base. So each mole sauce is completely different than other mole sauces. Each mole sauce roughly has 100 to 120 ingredients and takes, hours and hours just to get to the base of the sauce. And so in the beginning, I was making mole. It was extremely time consuming. It was really hard for me to source all the base ingredients in America, especially in Portland. It was really hard for me to source like some of these ingredients that are completely necessary to making the mole. So I did some research and found out that there's companies that just sell the base of the sauce, and they're from Oaxaca, Mexico, in the mountains, and that's all they do is build these bases. And so you can just buy them online, and you when you get the base, it has all the ingredients pretty much like consolidated down into this like pack. It looks like when you get it in the mail, it looks like a thing of tar. It's like completely black, sticky. It's like triple wrapped in these bags. And then yeah, I I get these canned tomatoes, like fresh
That's
canned
probably like
tomatoes.
resin of so it's probably like
Yeah,
a
no, it looks like it when I get it in the mail, it looks like how did this get through the mail? It looks like straight drugs, like and it's just the base. It's like it's every all the ingredients in its purest form. And then what you do is I take like San Marzano tomatoes, canned. I drain them, I puree them, fry the puree, add the base to that, and then add some like bouillon to the taste. And that's pretty much how I extract the sauce. Is I get the base from Mexico and add it to like San Marzano tomatoes. And so essentially, this mole sauce is like a tomato based sauce with all these spices in it. But you don't taste the tomatoes. Like once you put this base in it and cook it all down, like all you taste is the mole, is the Oaxaca mole. And it's a negro mole. So yeah, it's very chocolatey, very spicy without it being like spicy as in it tastes of spices, not as in like actually spicy. Yeah, it's just got such an intricate flavor. But yeah, in the beginning, I was making my own sauce, and I was like, this is way, and to make it fresh every time and to source all those ingredients, I was like, there's no way I could do this every time. So I was like, well, I'm just going to go to the source. Mole from Oaxaca, Mexico. So I was like, I'm sure there's companies that just sell the base, and sure enough, they just ship them online. And I honestly better than any mole sauce I could have ever made because it's something you like grew up doing, and especially mole is like a special occasion thing in the Hispanic culture. It's not like you make mole every day, or it's like once a week, or once every 2 weeks. It's like, oh, grandma's making mole this week, we're having chicken mole. Like it's a special occasion. It's not like a staple food. And even though I eat it as a staple food every day, luckily. But yeah, so the Santo is, yeah, it's just one of my favorites on the menu. I recommend it to everybody. I try to push everybody out of their comfort zone to try it. Even if people have never tried mole in their life, I say go for it. And yeah, just try something you've never had. And then I would say like 70% of the people that try it, they're like, oh my God, this is the best thing I've ever had. I want this all the time. And then maybe 30% was like, yeah, that was good, but maybe it's not for me. And that's totally fine. As long as some people try it. The next dog on the menu is the 512. And the 512 is named after the area code of all the Central Texas counties. So Austin, Lockhart, San Marcos, Round Rock, all these cities are under the 512 area code. And the 512 area code's pretty much widely known as like the barbecue belt of Texas. And this dog is all my favorite sides of like when you go to a barbecue restaurant in Central Texas. This is pretty much all the sides, but on the hot dog. And yeah, in Texas, you don't use barbecue sauce on your brisket or on your meat. You use your white bread to wipe up the barbecue sauce. It's more of like a palate cleanser. Like it's kind of sacrilege to actually put barbecue sauce on your meat in Central Texas. It is there, but it's there just a palate cleanse because it's a more vinegary, the sweet taste. So they give you tons of white bread, fresh white onions, pickles. They give you like salt, like all these like sides to go with your meat. And so this hot dog is pretty much like all my favorite sides on a hot dog, all my favorite barbecue sides. And so, yeah, in Central Texas, you go to the right barbecue restaurants, you'll still get chips and salsa. You'll still get, like smoked jalapenos and fresh onion. And you just kind of eat this on the side while you're eating your meat. And so, yeah, this one's green salsa, the tortilla chips, pickled jalapeno, and barbecue sauce. So, yeah, this is all the things that you normally have on the side just on a hot dog that you would get at like a barbecue joint in Central Texas. The H-Town is named after Houston. So it's red salsa. And I did kind of like more of like a paste picante style salsa, fried onions, pickled peppers, and teriyaki sauce. Yeah, this one's named after Houston after eating at a big cookout at my friend's house. And everyone was like getting really high because it's kind of what you do in Houston. And we were having this big like barbecue cookout, and I just started topping. Like I had some of my friends there that were from Vietnam, and they had brought all these extra toppings for their banh mi, and I kind of mixed matched some, like chips and salsa with some banh mi ingredients and put it on a hot dog, and that's kind of where this hot dog came from. And everybody was just like super surprised by this dog because it seems like it doesn't make sense, but then you try it and you're like, oh, actually, this is really good.
The teriyaki is throws me off.
Yeah, that's the thing that just
Yeah, it's
kind of
like, wait,
is
what?
out
Where
of
did
it.
that come from?
Yeah, why is this here on this hot dog? Yeah, and
It's like slap your mama out of nowhere.
yeah, yeah. So it's the teriyaki and the pickled peppers together on the like fried onion and the red salsa. Yeah, it's kind of like really left field, but this one, yeah, really works. And yeah, this one is like a definitely just direct influence of just taking what I had at a moment at a cookout and putting it all together and it working. And that's where a lot of these were found, from inspiration. But yeah, definitely, this was back when I was drinking and we were all smoking, and everyone was like, "Oh yeah, this is amazing." I was like, "Is it, or is it just like a little turnt right now?" But no, yeah, I put it on the menu, and I really really love this hot dog too. And this is one of the few ones that people. This is probably the least popular one on the menu, but the people that order this one all the time, this is their favorite, and this one really goes well as a vegan dog. Like lots of vegans order this one. The Bay City is probably the like cult classic. It's so popular. People love the Bay City. So this one is cream cheese, fried wontons, green onion, and a sweet chili sauce, like the Maypoi sauce. This one is actually named after Bay City, Texas. I had an ex-girlfriend from Bay City, and we were going out to her family's house one time, and we went and got like Chinese food, like out on the bay, and it was super good. And we ordered like a huge thing of crab rangoons, and I remember thinking how much I wanted.
I love
Uh,
those things.
yeah, like
I know. Ugh.
yeah, crab rangoons are so amazing, and yeah, we got this huge plate of crab rangoons. And I kept thinking, I was like, I wonder if this would be a really good hot dog. And I was like, how do I dissect this thing that's like the singular thing? It's like the crab rangoon's like the wonton shell with the cream cheese, with the crab. Then you dip it in the sauce. I was like, well, how do I break this apart and put it onto a hot dog? And yeah, I was like, well, if I take everything from the inside out and then just crunch the wrapper on top and then put the sauce that you dip it in as the sauce on top of it, there you go. And yeah, people go insane for this hot dog. I've had people say they've never liked hot dogs, try this hot dog, and they're like, now I'm converted. I can't stop thinking about hot dogs. This hot dog, yeah, this has changed a lot of people's lives. I hate to say it, might be one of my greatest inventions is this hot dog. Yeah, I whenever I don't know what to order, like when I'm working and I'm starving and I just want to eat a hot dog, I just will make one of these Bay Cities, and every time I'm like, almost sitting on the floor. I'm like, why is this so good? I don't understand. But it makes sense. It's like all the best things of a crab ring doing on a hot dog. Like, how is that not going to be good? So yeah, the Bay City is like cult classic, one of the top ones. The next is the Plano, which is green relish, fried onion, fresh shallot, and yellow mustard. This one's named after Plano, Texas, which is like a little suburb of like DFW, Fort Worth. Plano, Dallas, all that whole area is pretty boring to me. So I kind of named the plainest dog after that. And people come in, they're like, what's the plainest dog you got? I'm like, the Plano. And they're like, oh, that's funny. But it does fit the theme. And yeah, this one's super OG, very traditional. It's as close as you can get to an old school dog on my menu. And when people come in, they're like, I don't know what to get. Everything seems so crazy. I just say, get the Plano, because obviously that's right up your alley. And no, and it's a great dog. Like, no shit talking on people that order it. I needed to have a dog that was like very old school, close to as a normal dog as you could get on the menu. And I really like, people are like, oh, hey, I'm just going to get the Plano. I'm sorry. I'm like, don't be sorry. That's what you like. Like, don't apologize to me about what food you like. And I tell people all the time, once you pay me for the hot dog, it's your dog, not mine. And it's not up to me to, what I mean, to judge you about what you got. And that one is one of the few ones that people will always order ketchup for too. So yeah, it's the plainest hot dog on the menu. But the fresh shallot is a really nice change, because I love shallot as compared to like red onion or white onion. Like, shallot has such a delicate flavor, but still sharp. It's kind of like a mix between a garlic and onion. And then the fried onion on it gives it the crunch, and it kind of gives it like this onion ring taste, which really kind of brings home that OG hot dog flavor, because you have the relish and the yellow mustard. But it's like, yeah, dude, just throw some like onion rings on there, and like, there's no better flavor than that. The terralingua is the next hot dog after that, and it's more of the red salsa. It's pickled jalapeno, the Takis spicy Mexican chips, and teriyaki sauce. So it's very similar to the H-Town, but a little bit more spiced up. Terralingua is named after a town of Terralingua, which is way out in West Texas. It's kind of near Marfa and near El Paso. It's in the Big Bend scenic area, which is this giant like canyon area out on the Rio Grande between Mexico, New Mexico, and Texas. And there's really nothing out there. Terralingua was kind of a little ghost town. It was a mining town back in the day. But yeah, I stayed at one of my friends' like little trailers out in Terralingua one time when we were going out to Marfa. And sure enough, I had made those H-Town dogs. So I was making those H-Town dogs for them out there, but they didn't have some of the ingredients. So they had a bag of Takis chips and they had jalapenos. So I pretty much substituted some of the more indigenous ingredients to Terralingua on that H-Town hot dog and created the Terralingua. And it's the second spiciest hot dog on the menu. And it's one of those ones too that people only order that one. Like, if they come in, they're like, I love the Terralingua. And once again, it's another vegan favorite. The next one is El Paso, which is the most popular hot dog on the menu. It's named after El Paso on that same trip that I went up to Terralingua. It has green salsa, fresh cilantro, pickled peppers, ranch dressing, and bacon bits.
I can see why. It's like a jalapeno popper in hot dog form almost.
Yeah, yeah. And it's kind of got this like, yeah, I think it's so popular.
It's just
I think it's so
everything
popular
that you
because
love is on one hot dog.
a hot dog. Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's why it's the most popular one. Maybe it's because of the ranch dressing, maybe because of the bacon bits, the green salsa. Like, I don't know why exactly that one is so popular. I think when you see it too, I think it's so popular because when I make them, I have a little rail. I put them up, in front of customers while I call out numbers. And people are sitting there in front of the menu and they're seeing me put up these like other customers' hot dogs. And this one just is very aesthetically beautiful. It's kind of got the main colors on it are like red, green, and white, which is the Mexican flag. And it's got the fresh cilantro and the neon peppers and all that together. I think, yeah, every time I put up a El Paso on the rail, people see that one. They're like, which one is that? I'm like, it's the El Paso. And they're like, I want to do that one. And it's just so aesthetic with the colors. And yeah, it's to me, it's like, it is like this kind of beautiful amalgamation of Texas and Mexico together. And I think that's why I feel like this one kind of it signifies Third Coast in one single hot dog because it has these very traditional Mexican elements mixed with these very American elements. And I think that's why people kind of go to it. It's Third Coast, you know, reduced down to one hot dog. And yeah, it tastes so good. It's so fresh. And like I grew up not liking ranch, but in my older age, I ended up liking it. And yeah, I put it on a hot dog one day with like bacon bits and cilantro. I was like, fuck, this is really good. And yeah, it really turned me on to ranch more as a sauce. And yeah, the El Paso is just, it's so light and just beautiful. I think that's why people order it. It kind of tastes like you're eating a salad, but you're also getting these indulgent flavors of like bacon and ranch. So yeah, it's definitely a great melting pot hot dog of like Texas and Mexico. I feel like that's and it being named after El Paso, it pretty much is like the border dog. You know, it's the dog that straddles between two countries. And yeah, people love that one. It's the most popular. The next one is the Amarillos, which is named after the North Texas town of Amarillo. And huge beef town. It's where all the stockyards are at. It was the first major stop on the cattle runs up to the Midwest, up to Chicago. People would stop in Amarillo's before they would reach Oklahoma. And this one has pickled onion, fried onion, barbecue sauce, bacon bits, and pink sauce. The pink sauce is like a fry sauce. So this one tastes exactly like a Carl's Jr. like Western bacon burger. I remember we were driving through North Texas and we stopped at a Carl's Jr. because that was all that was open. And there's all these steakhouses. There's amazing steakhouses up there, but everything was closed and we just had to stop and get burgers because we were starving. And I remember getting a Carl's Jr. burger in Amarillo. And I was like, I definitely can make this a fucking hot dog. And so it has all the essential elements of like a barbecue Western burger on a hot dog. And yeah, to me, that was based out of the necessity. I was like, damn, I wish more of these steakhouses was open. All we could get was Carl's Jr. And I was eating a Western dog, but it really fit for while we were in Amarillo. And yeah, I really love this hot dog. I love like Western burgers, like with like barbecue sauce and like fried onions. And that's like one of my favorite genres of burger. And I was like, this is definitely an easy like transfer to a hot dog. And yeah, it literally tastes like a Western burger as a dog. Yeah, it's the closest cheeseburgery tasting one on the menu. And yeah, I love cheeseburgers. I'm with you, Justin. Yeah, I literally I hate to say I eat like cheeseburgers like 2-3 times a week.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, they're so good.
Tacos, cheeseburgers, hot dogs, they're all there.
Yeah, I'm such a simple like I don't know like I think cheeseburgers are one of those things that it's just like once you get that craving in your head, it's nothing else will sustain that. It's not like, oh yeah, no, we'll go get sushi instead. Or it's like, no, like, no, that's what I want. You know, once you get the idea of like a really good cheeseburger in your head, there's no getting around it. You just got to go get it, and that's the only thing that's gonna like fix your craving. And yeah, so a lot of these hot dogs are just inspired by my other cravings, you know, and where that craving took place, you know, in Texas. So the next dog on there is the DFW. That one's named after the Dallas Fort Worth Airport in Dallas. It's fresh brine sauerkraut, brown mustard aioli, fresh shallot, and everything seasoning. So yeah, this one is like a stone ground mustard, like super stone ground brown mustard mixed with veganese because all the toppings are vegan. And you kind of get this like creamy stone ground brown mustard aioli with that. And that with the sauerkraut, the fresh shallot, and the everything seasoning, this is the closest to it kind of tasting like a bagel. And I use like the wild brine sauerkraut because it's super fresh. I don't really like skunky, super fermented sauerkrauts. I kind of like it to taste like almost like a fresh salad or something. And this one I named after a hot dogs or the inspirations from a hot dog stand in Dallas that I got. And they were just being old school, just classic, original, like kind of German style sausage wraps. And, I've had sauerkraut on hot dogs and was never like super impressed until I had it this one place in Dallas. And I just couldn't get that flavor out of my mind. And sauerkraut is so good on a hot dog. It's so amazing. And it kind of goes back to the German roots of what hot dogs originally were from, Germany. They're based off sausage making. And yeah, this one is probably the second most traditional old school one on the menu behind the Plano. It's super classic, OG. It tastes exactly what you would think of this hot dog would taste, but it has like the everything seasoning really makes it pop. The fresh shallot, the brown mustard aioli. It feels like a refined, elevated dog, even though it's like the closest to its old world roots, of a hot dog. This one's very popular. People are like, I don't know which one to get, but I see sauerkraut, let's go for it. And then they come up and they're like, yeah, I want two more of those. And the people that eat this DFW, this is the only one they'll get. It's kind of crazy. I have people that this is their favorite. I have 13 different hot dogs on the menu and whole different types of specials, and this is the only one that they'll get. So this one's definitely got a cult following. The next dog on the menu is La Rodeo, and this one's named after Laredo, Texas, on the border, which is about 2.5 hours from San Antonio. And we would go to Laredo a lot. And this one is based off of literally jalapeno poppers. And in Texas, we call them armadillo eggs. And so that's pretty much, your jalapeno that's either smoked or fried or grilled with bacon and cheese wrapped up. And some people will put the bacon inside. We would do the bacon wrap it on the outside of the pepper and stuff it with cheese and meat. So this one is cream cheese, pickled jalapeno, bacon bits, and sweet chili sauce. It's pretty much the spicy version of the Bay City too. The Laredo is extremely popular. I'd say it's spicy without it being overly done. But yeah, it's straight up a jalapeno popper. That flavor profile of the pickled jalapenos, bacon bits, cream cheese. It's just a crowd pleaser. You cannot beat the Laredo. It's one of those ones, everyone's got a memory of this flavor profile somewhere in their head. And then to put it together with a hot dog, it really it really just blows all the other hot dogs out of the water. People love La Rodeo. The next dog on there is the PAT, which is named after Port Arthur, Texas, which is where DJ Screw, Little Kiki, Fat Pat, all the old school like DJ Screw
I
tape
love it.
guys came
Yeah.
from. Yeah.
Yeah.
They all came from Port Arthur, Texas. They all actually graduated from Janis Joplin High, and that Janis Joplin's from Port Arthur.
That's irony right there.
Yeah,
Or
isn't that the art? Yeah,
inspiration that they found in her, interestingly.
yeah,
I don't
right.
know.
And yeah. Imagine graduating from Janis Joplin High School. Like yeah, Port Arthur, Texas, another little bay town about like 80 miles southeast of Houston. This one's got fried onion, pickled onion, sweet chili sauce, cilantro, pink sauce, and sesame seed. This one is inspired around the banh mi that I had in Port Arthur, Texas. Port Arthur has a large Vietnamese influence because during the evacuation of Vietnam from Saigon, they brought a ton of Vietnamese immigrants to Port Arthur, Bay City, all these little towns on the bay outside of Houston in the 70s. So there's a huge Vietnamese influence. There's Vietnamese influence that stretches all the way to Louisiana because, like, when you go to Houston, you get Vietnamese crawfish and all these different types of like just melting pot cuisines based around how many Vietnamese immigrants that had moved there. And so I had a really good banh mi in Port Arthur one time, and that really inspired me to like kind of make a dog. So this is not like a traditional banh mi, which has the daikon, the carrot, it has the mayo and jalapeno. I kind of created my own little Texas weird version of it, but is directly influenced by the Vietnamese influence in Texas and especially in Port Arthur. So this is kind of like my Tex-Mex fusion of banh mi Vietnamese food on a hot dog. And then the last hot dog on the menu, which is the spiciest one, is the Galvestonia, which is named after Galveston, another major port town on the coast. And this one is fried jalapeno, pickled jalapeno, green onion, and wasabi mayo. Definitely the spiciest hot dog on the menu with the double jalapeno, the green onion. The wasabi mayo is not too spicy, but definitely has a kick. Yeah, this one was also based around eating a lot of really good Asian food in these port towns and Galveston. I remember we had went and got some really good like Japanese food and like izakaya and sushi. And I was like, I wonder if I can make this into a hot dog because the fried jalapeno is like a tempura fried jalapeno, which they traditionally use tempura battering on like lots of Japanese food and Asian food as their batter because it's very light and light tasting.
Gets nice and crisp, gives a good
Crisp.
texture. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. And so I was like, and I really like dishes that have ingredients done two ways. So like a fresh onion and a fried onion, or like a pickled jalapeno and then like fresh jalapeno. I really love when people take vegetables or ingredients and double them down in a dish and then but have them prepared two different ways. And so yeah, this one is supposed to be kind of like this dog kind of tastes like a sushi roll because of the tempura battering on the fried jalapeno and the wasabi mayo. And yeah, I wanted something that had this like kind of light, spicy, almost like spicy fish taco tasting, element. And yeah, this one's the spiciest one on the menu. I have a lot of people that come in and are spice heads, and they're like, "Give me the spiciest one," and I always tell them to go with the Galvestonia. And yeah, that's the 13 hot dogs on the menu. I'm always doing daily specials, weekend specials. I'll do a special one day and then switch it up midway through the shift or the next day. And I always get repeat customers off of that. People will be like, "Hey, I just had your hot dog yesterday, but you changed it. So I'm hearing it again." So when you come into Third Coast, you have 13 different styles of hot dogs to choose from. But when you come in, it's not listed. You won't see it on any menu board. Ask me what the special is, and I'll tell you what it is. And I highly recommend just get the special because it's something I'll either do again or I'll never do again. And so it's really just like, you never know, you know?
Yeah. I like
Oh,
this. Let's talk about the rumors of a secret menu. Do you have one?
yes, I do. Yeah. I
The
have a permanent secret menu. Yeah.
permanent secret menu. Okay. I don't need to know anymore. I was just curious because I had read something about it online and I was curious of the nature of this and how one gets into the secret club, but maybe it's for the audience to find out for themselves too in person.
Well, I pretty much, if you come in, you ask about the secret menu, or if I've seen you in here a couple times or whatever, I will gladly tell you what's on it. They rotate per season. But in the summer, I'm really about like, I love shredded lettuce on a hot dog. I don't know why it's so good on a hot dog. I think it tricks my mind into thinking I'm eating a salad, or it's just like the light, like it's the contrast of this like sausage with this really light, like water-based vegetable that's, you know, has like nothing really going on to it. But I mean, that's one of the best elements on like a smash burger is like the shredded lettuce, or I love lettuce on food. And people don't really think about lettuce on a hot dog, and it's so fucking good. It's amazing. So one of the summer secret ones are all lettuce based. And I do this Big Mac dog, and it tastes exactly like a Big Mac. So it's shredded lettuce, relish, the chopped white onion, pink sauce, which is like a burger sauce, and then everything seasoning on top of that. So it's super simple. It's stripped down, but you take one bite, it literally tastes like you're at McDonald's eating a Big Mac. And I think it's just the everything seasoning with the lettuce and the burger sauce. And I feel like those are just the most major tastes that you taste when you eat a Big Mac. It's like the burger sauce, the bread, the lettuce, and everything else, and of course the onion. But everything else beyond that is just like what McDonald's tastes like. It's those elements of that plus the McDonald's taste is what makes the Big Mac taste like it. So I also
Totally.
do.
I
Yeah, I
like the
know.
Big Mac flavor.
I I love the Big Mac. I think it's such a great burger, and to have it in like an even easier form to eat, which is awesome. And yeah, people are like, dude, this literally tastes like a Big Mac to the T. And so that's one of the more popular secret menu ones. The second most popular is the Olive Garden salad dog. So once again, it's shredded lettuce. It's the Olive Garden branded Italian dressing, pepperoni, fresh Parmesan, tomato, and croutons on a hot dog with an onion. And this one started, my first job ever was at Olive Garden when I was 15. I was like the breadstick bitch and salad guy. Like that's all I did all day was make breadsticks and cut up salad and put it in like the spinners. And I haven't been inside of an Olive Garden in like 20 years because of that job. Yeah. But yeah, it was like a couple months ago. I was driving by Olive Garden. I was doing some shopping at Costco for the shop, and I saw Olive Garden. I was like, well, let's just stop in there. So we stopped in there, and I hadn't been in one in 20 years. And just walking in, smelling that margarine smell, like I literally had PTSD. And I was like, all right, let's just sit down and do it. And we ended up getting like the endless soup and salad special because that's what you get Olive Garden for. Of course, it's a salad. And I was like, I forgot how good this salad was, you know? And the dressing, I don't know, their dressing is amazing. And so, yeah, I started finding
It's good for
it's
sure.
really good. Like, and I've been actually using it to cook with a whole other kinds of things. One of my buddies is a hunter, and he like gave me a bunch of backstrap, like deer backstrap and deer sausage. And he told me, he was like, the secret to cooking deer is Italian dressing. And I had no idea. And it's true. Like it's completely true. If you cook or marinate your backstrap in Italian dressing, it literally kills all that gamey flavor. I don't know what it is about the Italian dressing, but it completely just neutralized the game flavor. And so, yeah, use that as like, if you're ever having to cook deer, find some Italian dressing. I swear to God, it will make it a lot easier to cook. But yeah, literally after I went out and ate at Olive Garden, the next time at Costco, they had the Olive Garden Italian dressing on the shelf. So I was like, dude, this is a sign. I'm making this into a hot dog. I have all the elements. All I got to do is get some like really good fresh Parmesan and grate it on top. And people have gone ape shit over this hot dog because it literally tastes like the dressing. Like it's the dressing that makes it, but it literally tastes like the salad. And the hot dog flavor kind of just goes away because all you're tasting is the salad taste. And it's kind of a trip because you're like, oh, the hot dog flavor would clash with this, and it doesn't. And people love the Italian garden. Yeah, like the Olive Garden Italian dressing hot dog is like one of the top secret ones. And another uh, like more permanent one I do a Caesar salad hot dog too. And this one sounds insane, but I love Caesar salad. It's probably one of my favorite salads. Like all summer, that's all I'm thinking about is Caesar salad. Like I love like one of my favorite meals ever is just like Caesar salad with a steak. It's just that's one of the best combos. And this one sounds really left field, but it's really good on a hot dog. And yeah, it's just Caesar salad, crouton, fresh pecorino, Parmesan. And then I also like pepperoncinis in my Caesar salad. So I put it on there too. But yeah, in the summer, all my secret menu dogs are based off of like my favorite salads. And then the secret menu dogs in the winter are based off of my like, favorite sandwiches and like casseroles and soups and stuff. So that's pretty much the secret menu breakdown.
I love it. All right, let's talk about what the summer's been like. We talked before summer started for you last time.
Yes. Yep.
What is summer like? What has it been for you? Oregon, it's probably been a little bit cool there, but I've got to imagine that business grows during the summertime. So let's talk about your summer. Let's talk about getting into your second year of business with the bar, as well as your third year of business with the hot dogs. How's that been? What's the summer look like? How's the journey going?
Summer's been awesome. Of course, the weather here is super conducive to eating hot dogs, to being outside. Portland is actually just so beautiful in the summer, and it does get a little hot. But like Portland hot is not like the rest of the country hot. You know, the second it hits 90 degrees, everyone's like, "Oh my god, it's too hot outside." I'm like, dude, this is just what normal people live in the summer. You know, but of course, you know, a lot of the houses here don't have AC, or especially none of them here have like central air unless you have a new building. So yeah, the summer here does get a little warm, but you know, all summer people are out. They're out at the river, and because of how the winter is in Portland, when it's nice here, people are out. It's not just like, oh yeah, it's nice outside, big deal. No, like the second it's sunny outside, every Portlander is out on their porch. They're out at the bar. They're out at the river. They're out in the street because they know, you know, in 6 months it's going to be dark and rainy, and we really need to soak this up. So summers here are banging. They're super fast paced. You have these extremely long days. We're really far north. You know, we're closer to North Pole than we are to the equator. So in the summer, you know, around summer solstice, our sunsets don't happen till about 10:30 at night. So we'll get these 16 to 18 hour in the middle of summer, we get about 18 to almost 20 hours of sunlight. It starts at like 4:30 in the morning, doesn't end till 10:30 at night. So you get these insanely long, bright, warm days, and that really that's the driving. I mean, that's what drives our tourism here because people are like, dude, you have these crazy long days. The weather is pretty much perfect. Like today, I think it's going to hit 84 and be sunny all day, which is perfect. We kind of have this awesome temperate zone here. And the summers here, business wise, are when you make your money. And yeah, it's been extremely busy all summer. I had my busiest day ever of all my days I've ever worked service on July 4th. I sold 365 hot dogs, and it was like 6 hours less. Yeah, I got pretty close to beating 400 hot dogs. It was insane. I mean, it makes sense. July 4th that's like the hot dog holiday. But yeah, summer's been awesome. It's just, yeah, this is the time where you reap as much as you can and stockpile as much as you can because, yeah, once it starts raining and it's cold, you know, business does die down a little bit. But yeah, going into the second year of the bar and almost the third year of the hot dogs, like business has only stayed up. And that has a lot to do with the product and the way I market it, but it has a lot to do with, you know, social media. And I think staying on top of social media, like me doing these podcasts with you, that, you know, that like having the opportunity and the ability to do this with you, that only makes it adds legitimacy to the product. And yeah, it creates a megaphone for people that have never heard this thing to find out about it. And we live in this day and age where if you're not using the tools given to you properly as a business, you will fail because there's people that have a stronger online presence or a stronger just branded presence than you. And that's pretty much who wins at the end of the day is who's achieving more just mass, just, you know, who's got the best branding and who is achieving the biggest audience possible and doing it well at the same time. And so yeah, I mean, it's really because of people like you. It's because of all the publications and influencers that this is able to go on. And I think I would have found my footing anyway, just because I do have a good product. And, you know, like you said, it's hot dogs, they're nostalgic. Like you can't, like, there's no way that you don't have a good memory of this thing. But I think at the end of the day, the reason why the business is doing so well is because we live in an age of people that are dedicated to helping small business find their audience and find their customers. And so, yeah, I mean, I really got to applaud you, Justin, for doing stuff like this and having people like me on your format and on your medium. And yeah, yeah, I appreciate it a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. This will be one of my last questions for you, Sage. We talked about it a little bit on the first one, but I want to talk about it again just from the last one because I've had some questions around it. Getting here to where you are, inspiring, keeping going. Like I think the audience, I think people are always like, how do you get even to a place where you're brave enough to take on the hot dog in a pop-up space? I think there's who inspired you, what inspired you. I just want to anchor it again for the
Yeah.
audience. Your mission, your drive, including making everything vegan, making sure that people can switch out a meat dog for a vegan dog and they can still enjoy the exact same ingredients. There's a lot of very altruistic thinking here. I mean, it
Yes.
comes from somewhere. So let's just talk about all that. That was a big question. Take as long as you want to answer it.
Yeah. I think the concept is also, yeah, what drives the popularity. As a businessman and as a chef, I've always wanted to create a business that anybody can access your base product and, regardless of their dietary needs or their wants or, their desires. And, I was like, how do I create something? I was like, well, picking the hot dog is already a universal thing because I feel like, everyone has this idea of a hot dog and it is a nostalgic thing. So I think picking that was step one. And then finding and knowing that I could easily just swap out beef for vegan protein, that was another step forward because I was like, well, now I can achieve, 50% more access to customers because I've taken meat out of this. And then I was like, well, now the toppings. I was like, well, I got to just, instead of making a vegan sauce and a meat sauce, why don't I just make them all vegan and just force meat eaters to eat vegan sauces? And that would cut down on my prep time and also force people to realize that, maybe you don't need all these animal products all over your food. It's okay that you can get your little dose of animal protein with all this vegan stuff on it and you wouldn't even know. And yeah, like all my meat eaters that they have no idea, like they see that it says vegan on the menu, but they don't even think about it. They're just eating or they're eating it and they're like, this is awesome. So yeah, it's that what you said, like altruism, you know, if you're in the business of feeding people, don't you want to feed the most amount of people, period? Like if if you're in the, yeah, if you're in this business of literally giving people life, don't you want to like put out the biggest net possible and to actually do that and not just, hand pick who you're feeding and be super selective. It's, when it comes to, food is the one universal thing we all have as humans. So why can't, like, it should be thought of that way in a business pride too. And I hope this inspires more chefs to looking at food in this more open, broad way instead of being so niche about your product. Just like kind of going and, instead of looking at it in this micro lens, take a step back, because sometimes you can't see the forest because of the trees. Sometimes you got to step way back and see, like, hey, what's my target? And like, how can I make the biggest target possible and hit it at the same time? And my ethos for this thing has been aim small, miss small. So, if you aim for a small target, you might miss it by a small amount. But if you aim at a big target, your chances of hitting it go up. And it might not be as impressive as hitting a super small target, but you still hit it. And yeah, I think food as a concept should be for everybody. So why not make that concept be the ethos of your menu? And I tell everybody that, wants to get into food or wants to start a pop-up, it's not that complicated. It's 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 only you making it more complicated for yourself. It's how you design something and put your best foot forward. That's how everything's going to go. And take something that you're really passionate about and just do that one thing. You don't need multiple things on this menu. Like if you're just going to do burgers, do 4 really good burgers right off the bat. Just do 4. And my original menu was just 4 hot dogs. When I first started the pop up, it was 4. I feel like that's a good number for a menu for a pop up. Is like, don't go more than 4. I feel like you can get varied enough between 4 different options that people can look at and be like, oh yeah, this is just entertaining enough, And if I picked one thing and came back up and got another thing, it would be different. And I wouldn't just be eating a repeat. So yeah, pick 4 really good things of one genre of food and find the 4 corners of a room and of that genre or that cuisine and really like go weird with it, but also like have these nostalgic elements so people aren't feeling like you're just like messing with their memories, like people want things to be grounded kind of in what they remember. So, you know, be experimental, be conceptual, but also be restrained, and also be grounded. And when it comes to like building out your pop up, go as small as possible. I have the ethos of using, you don't need like commercial branded equipment. We live in an age where we have all these great companies that build products for your house that are based around commercial, equipment. Like, people like the air fryer. That's an awesome tool for the house.
Absolutely.
It's
Absolutely.
and it's an amazing tool, and it's something that now only in this era of like home goods that we have all these companies that are creating tools that are originally for chefs, but we're now putting it in the residential market. And so I tell people just use what you can get from the residential market. You don't need to go out and buy all this commercial equipment. Just go get an air fryer, go get a crock pot, go get the Instapot, another amazing tool. Like what I grill all my hot dogs on at my shop is the Ninja electric grill. It has a built-in exhaust. That got me around having to put in a commercial exhaust hood in my building, which would have cost me $20,000. And then, that you can't just move an exhaust hood. Once you put that shit in there, that's it. That building now has that.
Yeah, and
Once the
and it
lease is up,
costs
you're
you a
not.
car payment.
Yeah, yeah. And for what? To exhaust, It's like, well, why? Dude, there's plenty of residential and, there's plenty of equipment and tools for the home cook, for the home chef that we can use. And I say use it. And so all my equipment, barring my low boy, I have a commercial low boy because it's got the like open, it's got the make line, it's got everything ready. besides that one piece of equipment, almost all my other equipment is like residential based equipment, and it works. And it's not going to cost you an arm and a leg. And the cool thing is, like, you can use it for home too. It's not going to stay permanent at your business. You can and you can use it for if you ever do a catering event or a or another pop up. So I say go as small as possible, but shoot for as big as you can. Like, pick four really great things out of your favorite genre and circle the world with it. But take the cheapest but most effective tools you have and apply it to that. And you can't lose because you've created such a low stakes for yourself that even if you just do $200 your first pop up, dude, you already paid for all your equipment. Now you're in the green. Like, the overhead is what kills you. The more you put into your overhead, you're constantly racing against your overhead to make money, to squeeze money out of it for yourself. And if you keep that overhead as small as possible and keep everything as guerrilla, like I view it as like guerrilla filmmaking or, guerrilla warfare. It's like, what do you have at your disposal? Use it and do it in this very sneaky kind of strategic way to combat making food is almost like going to war. You prep, you get ready, you fight the battle, and then you clean up and you do it again. And so you kind of have to use these concepts of, like, how do I make this as not wasteful and as not ineffective as possible? And that's your best route. And it's completely possible. I started this pop up with just an idea, and it was a lifelong idea of or these these dreams of these hot dogs. And I literally just called up one of my buddies who had the motorcycle shop, and I was like, "Hey, is it cool if I just like pull up and sell some hot dogs in your parking lot?" And he was like, "Yeah, please, as long as I get a hot dog out of it." I was like, "Perfect." And literally, that's where it started from. It started from one phone call, and now my life has irreversibly changed. I don't think I'll ever. I mean, it's already within 2 years has changed so much and has gone forward so much. And now I just got in the Oregonian. I just got on the morning news. Like, this thing is just going to keep getting bigger and bigger, and I don't see it going away. And, like, hopefully in the next 5 years, who knows where I'll be? And because if I can go from selling hot dogs in a motorcycle shop parking lot next to the dumpsters, like, to for $5 a hot dog, to owning my own bar and having offers for people wanting to buy me out and franchise my business already. If that can happen to me in 2 years, it can happen to anybody. And it's just about your ideas, where you want to go with it, how much you want to invest in it, how much you're willing to work for it. That is the biggest thing you're going to have to, like, come to terms with, is that, 40 hours a week is what normal people work for somebody else. That's the bare minimum that you need to achieve full-time work. When you own your own business, especially a food business, 40 hours a week doesn't cut it. 40 hours a week is just the bare minimum of hours you need to be open for the public. That's just the bare minimum of the time you're going to be spent just talking to people. That's not doesn't include your prep time, your drive time, your conceptualizing time, your social media time, inventory, shopping, stocking, like all that. That's another 30 hours. And so that's the tip of the iceberg is you just talking to customers and dealing your product. That's just the thing that everybody sees. Behind that, below the water, is all the other back end stuff that you're required to do to achieve that 40 hours of service. So if you're going into this business, just go into with it the mindset that you're going to spend 40 hours a week minimum just talking to people and making them food. Expect to work another 20 to 30 hours on top of that minimum, and expect that to be your life. Expect, you know, I tell myself every day, you know, you have to prepare for everything, expect nothing. And the first couple pop-ups, I prepared myself for, you know, 80 people to show up and only 5 showed up. But then the next time that number doubled, and then it doubled, and then it tripled, and then it quadrupled. And then it went from, me doing $1,000 a day to doing a $3,000 day. And it works, it extrapolates itself. It's constantly exponentially growing. So be prepared for growth, but don't expect it. Don't expect anything. Have low expectations, but just want the most. And that's the biggest thing, is just keeping your product simple, restrained, inventive, and also creative, and keeping your overhead as small as possible. And, you know, applying the things you did as a small pop-up, apply that. Once you achieve success or greatness, don't let it get to your head. Don't get out of your bubble, and just keep that mindset as a pop-up as long as you can. And I swear you can't go wrong, because if you don't overhire, or if you don't overbuy your equipment, or you don't go outside of your means, there's really not a lot of margin of error. You just have to keep the ship steady and be dedicated to your customer base, to their wants, their needs. And really the big thing is social media. Have a good branding. If you're not good at graphic design, find a good graphic designer. Find somebody that can help you build a brand and push it. And post memes about your product, post, any other social media mentions. Just constantly be on the attack. And use social media as your tool, and get really good at making reels, get really good at making posts. And don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of putting your face out there. The algorithm loves seeing people's faces. They love it. People love hearing people's story, like the rags to riches story. So yeah, you're not just selling your product, you're selling yourself. You're selling your life story. You're selling your vision. And that's what people latch onto. And that's the power of good branding. And it helps if you have a good product, but that's not necessarily the only defining factor. Like, you could have the best food in the world, you could be the best chef, you could do all these amazing things, but if nobody is talking about it, nobody's even eating your food, then nobody's going to know. And so it really has to be a combination of your own craftsmanship with your business savviness to put yourself out there, and to, you know, be ready to fail, but not ever settle for that. And, if you fail once, just get up, do it again. I swear to God, if you just put in that 40 hours a week of talking to people, people will respond to it, and they will come back, and you'll have a business on your hands. Just, you have to give it time, and you have to expect to put in a lot of work. And I hope if that can inspire somebody to go out and chase your dreams, because the beauty about food is we're not done unlocking all the potentiality of food. There's always going to be more fusion. There's always going to be more cuisines that we haven't heard of, or there's always going to be something that we don't know about out there, because people are always innovating as consumers of food. And it's an endless field of just ideas. And if you're ready to tap into it and put the work behind it, there is a lot of success to be found. And you just have to be ready to put your boots on the ground and really shape the vision of what you want for your consumers. And I swear to God, your consumers, your customers, your clients, they will respond. They'll buy your product. They'll follow every story you post. They'll show up at every pop-up. They'll follow you around town. They will latch onto you and support you if you just achieve those basic tenets of your business. And once you hit that point, the ball keeps rolling, and it's just getting over that first hill. If you can get if you just do your first pop up, and it's nerve wracking. I remember my first one. I couldn't sleep the night before. I was like, what am I doing? Am I really going to go out here and sell hot dogs? And like, what if nobody likes it? What if everyone thinks this is stupid? Just put that shit out of your head and just go do it, and step out of your comfort zone and do it once. And if it's really not for you, you'll find out. But if you just get an inkling of the taste of what it could be or the success, just do it again and keep doing it until you find that, because it's out there. And I really hope everyone realizes that, you know, as long as you're willing to work for your dream, you can achieve it. And I know it sounds cliche and blah, 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 but you know, it's the truth. It's people, you know, nothing in this life is given to you. It's what you earn. And I really hope chefs that have these good concepts, have these good ideas, will take it and show, like, I'm excited for what the new food scene is going to be. I'm excited about all these new chefs coming out. And it's an exciting time to be a consumer, and it's an exciting time to be a chef. So I think we live in an awesome just point in our society and in humankind. And I hope my little story can inspire somebody to do it too, and find something that they were meant to do with their life. And yeah, I I truly believe that if you're willing to put in the work, you get what you reap for sure.
I love it. Sage, thank you for your time. Where can they find you online? Where can they come visit you when they're in Portland? How can they find you on social media? All those good things.
So my Third Coast account is called Third Coast Dogs PDX on Instagram. I do majority of my posting through Instagram. So that's the Third Coast account. I also have a website. It's got the menu on there, but really not much else. But that's thirdcoastdogs.squaresite.com. I used to do Uber Eats in the very beginning, but I turned it off. It's been way too busy. So if you type in Third Coast on Google, you might see it on there, but I permanently paused my store on there. It's way too busy to keep up with Uber Eats and doing the bar and my in-house customers. So I've been using my Uber Eats account as like a free billboard online. The Gray Horse Saloon is the bar, and that's on Instagram too. The entire building with the motorcycle shop is called Biker Bar. So it's BIKEORBAR. Eventually within Biker Bar will be a tattoo shop and a barber shop in there too, along with my bar, the hot dog shop, and the motorcycle shop. So it's going to be kind of like a one-stop punk rock mall. Like you show up to this, it's a 6,000 square foot building. It's going to have all these little businesses in there. I'm going to have my thrift store in there. So you can look up Biker Bar, Third Coast Dogs PDX, or Gray Horse Saloon. Those are all my social media accounts. If you're in Portland proper, I'm at the corner of Southeast 7th Avenue and Division Street, kind of inner east side. It's where Division Street ends. It's in the industrial district where just there's nothing but warehouses everywhere. At the corner, you'll see Biker Bar in this big building. You'll hear a bunch of Harleys everywhere. You'll see people riding their lowriders and their trucks. Yeah, that inside of Biker Bar is my bar. Inside there is the Third Coast Hot Dog Shop. So if you're in Portland, come on down the Southeast 7th on the Central East Side and come get a hot dog and come check it out.
I love it. Thank you, Sage, for your time. Thank you for sharing your story. Can't wait to tell more of your story and see where this goes. Everyone in the audience, like, share, comment on the episode. That's how it gets out there. Like, share, comment on social media, Third Coast Dogs, Gray Horse Saloon. You guys can find it in the episode notes as well. I'll point it all towards you. If you type in Third Coast Dogs, in Google, which I encourage everyone to do, you'll see all the articles and the photos and stuff that people are posting. It's pretty impressive. So I recommend everyone do that. Again, guys, this is for the audience. I know it's growing, the audience, those of you guys who are listening out there. So like, share, comment on the episodes. That's how we support each other. We don't charge anything. The entrepreneurs come on here for free. They just share their story, so it grows the community. there's no payment, but obviously give it a heart, give it a like, give it a comment. Like, if you've eaten at Third Coast Dogs, I definitely think you should comment on the episode, because you know what Sage is saying. So you're enjoying it every day. So I appreciate you guys listening in. I appreciate everyone supporting all the episodes already and all the listens, all the support in Portland already for the first episode. Pretty impressive. Thank you guys. It's doing very well. I see you guys still downloading it in the community there. So I appreciate you. I appreciate you, Sage, and I love you
I
guys. And
appreciate
we're
you,
out.
Justin.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you having me on here.
Absolutely.